Mr. Speaker, the effects of this government's disastrous policies on communities across the province have been devastating. When this government brought in its carbon tax, little thought was given to the effect it would have on post-secondary institutions. With the tuition freeze going into its 4th year, institutions are being forced to look at their books and make cuts. Now they're forced to turn over millions of dollars to the government for a carbon tax they were never consulted on nor benefit from. To the Minister of Advanced Education or whomever is representing him today, when will you admit these policies will eventually damage the institution's ability to provide quality education here in Alberta?
Honourable Minister, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And of course, in the first instance, stable and predictable funding to our post-secondary institutions, just as to our healthcare system or to our education system or to the many municipalities or community services, has been job one as we have ensured that we've moved Alberta out of the recession. And as we invest in energy efficiency, Mr. Speaker, that's also creating thousands of new jobs. And so, of course, there are a number of investments that are also happening in the post-secondary sector. But job one for this government was stability and not making reckless cuts during the recession.
Mr. Speaker, given institutions have increased the tuition rates for international students to offload their operational costs, eventually this could affect all students and future foreign students and future enrollment. Is this how you expect these institutions to offset the disastrous effects of the NDP carbon tax?
Good question.
The Honourable Minister of Education.
Well, thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thank you very much for the question. And, you know, institutions in advanced education have been working very hard in close concert with our government to look for solutions to reduce carbon emissions. There's a lot of research that's going into this very area as well. And, you know, post-secondary institutions are meant to lead, not just in terms of education, but in terms of advancing and diversifying the economy. And that's exactly what our advanced education institutions are doing in regards to carbon. And we're very proud of the partnership they're providing to work with us.
Honourable for Lethbridge East.
To the Minister of Education. As you know,
I'm sorry. My apologies. Second supplemental question.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, given the carbon tax on post-secondary institutions is really a tax on taxpayers' dollars, public funds which are allocated to these institutions are being clawed back to the NDP carbon tax. Can the minister then explain why is this government taxing these institutions' operational dollars?
Honourable Minister of Education.
Well, thank you, Mr. Speaker. And, you know, these sorts of questions should display a misunderstanding of exactly part of why the carbon levy is in place, and which is to provide efficiencies. And so when you look at public institutions and the literally hundreds of buildings and energy uses that you have in post-secondary institutions across our province, then they're making ways by which we can provide efficiencies in those same places and actually save money over time. And so it's important that post-secondary institutions participate in the carbon levy, and we're looking for ways by which this can be a constructive process that can be both educational and safe.
Thank you.